What's going on, family? This is the Scrapbook Boxing Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I want to talk about a fight that took place on February 9th, 1940 and June 20th, 1940 between Aturo Gadoy, who's from Chile, and the Brown Bomber, Joe Louis. Joe Louis was the longest reigning heavyweight champion, 12 years and 25 title defenses. Aturo Gadoy was born October 10th, 1912, Santiago, Chile, and he died August 27th, 1986. He was 73 years of age at the time of his death, and he died in Chile as well. Now, Aturo Gadoy would have total bouts of 124, 87 victories, 49 knockouts, 23 losses, 12 draws, and 2 no contests. Aturo Gadoy would travel all over Argentina, Cuba, Spain, as well as the United States during his ring career. From 1930s to the 1950s, Aturo Gadoy would fight fighters such as Tony Galento. He would face him twice. Elkin Brothers, Johnny Hayes, Roscoe Torres. He fought him 3 times. Tony Musco, Gus Durazo, Maurice Strickland, Otis Thomas, Jack Roper, Al Latoy, Les Hayes, Louis Angel Firpo, Art Sykes, Tommy Loughran, who was light heavyweight champion of the world, and he fought him 3 times. The Brown Bomber, Joe Louis, fought him twice. Alabama Kid, Lou Savoy, Harold Johnson, who would become light heavyweight champion of the world. Turkey Thompson, Pat Richard, Len Malo, Billy Jones, Victorio Campolo, 6'6" giant. Maynard Jones, Peter Johnson, fought him twice. Ray Swanson. Just to name a few opponents. Fascinating fighter was Aturo Gadoy. Now he would face Joe Louis, the Brown Bomber, Madison Square Garden, February 9th, 1940. And he would face him again, Yankee Stadium, June 20th, 1940. Now I would like to go over those fights, but I want to go over them with you right here on the Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Now, Joe Louis was signed to face Aturo Gadoy. Very good fighter. January 24th, 1940. New York Times, January 16th, 1940. Louis here today to sign contract. Article for Gadoy bout to be completed at the meeting of Athletic Board. Armstrong will appear. That would be Henry Armstrong. Final arguments for his fight with Pedro Martinez to be made of the news. New York Sun, January 6, 1940. Joe signs without looking. Here you have Joe Louis to your left and Aturo Gadoy to your right. Joe Louis is the champion, Aturo Gadoy the challenger. And this fight would take place February 9th, 1940, Madison Square Garden. Gadoy the face champion of New York. Chilean boasts strings of 20 knockouts. Joe Louis would make his first 1940 defense of the heavyweight boxing championship in a 15-round bout against Aturo Gadoy of Chile in Madison Square Garden, Friday night. The Brown Bomber is looking forward to 3 additional title risks this year, indicating he is not worrying about Gadoy. Now this will be his first appearance since 1939. 1936, Leroy Hayes, draw 10 in New York, October 21st. Al Latour, draw 10, New York, November 11th. 1937, Jack Roper, knockout 8, New York, January 14th. Otis Thomas, knockout in 3 rounds, New York, February 3rd. Art Sykes, knockout 3 rounds, New York, February 25th. Maurice Strickland, he drew with him in 10 rounds. New York, March 10th. Two-ton Tony Galento. He defeated him in 10 rounds. New York, April 28th. Roscoe Torres lost 10 rounds. Detroit, May 21st. Galento won 6. Chicago, June 22nd. Now these are all the opponents for this year of Arturo Gadoy. February 3rd, 1940. Joe Louis, with the Ring magazine editor, not Flasher. Now Joe Louis 3-1 favorite in title bout with Arturo Gadoy. Arturo Gadoy does away with a sparring partner. Jim Robinson. New York Times, February 5th, 1940. Detroit Free Press, 1940. 18,000 will watch heavyweight bout. Louis will strive for 8 knockouts as champion at the Garden fight with Gadoy. 100,000 gate expected. The bomber in South American pronounced to shape after long training grind. As you can see here, Joe Louis was 25 years old and Gadoy was 27 years old. Louis 200 pounds, 6 foot 1 3/4 inches, and he had a 76-inch reach. Gadoy was 202 pounds, 6 foot 1 1/4 inches, and 6 foot 1/4 inches, and 74 inches reach. Now, Joe Louis and Arturo Gadoy get it on, and this is the very first round. February 9th, 1940, in Madison Square Garden. Arturo Gadoy stays low the majority of the fight. He continues to press Joe Louis, but Joe Louis keeps him at range with the jab. And amazingly, this fight goes 15 rounds. And there was a slight controversy because the press thought that Joe Louis would get him out of there within 6 rounds. They didn't know what to make of it. Arturo Gadoy proved himself by not being knocked out by Joe Louis. Joe Louis had knocked out 8 straight, and they thought Arturo Gadoy would be number 9. So he had earned himself a rematch to take place June 20th, 1940 at Yankee Stadium. The next day, the press writes that Louis wins to keep title and Gadoy avoids a knockout. Now this would infuriate Arturo Gadoy because he felt he put up a great effort not to avoid a knockout. So they protest and they wanted a rematch. And the press would eat up Joe Louis in his camp, saying that he can't punch and he's not what everyone thought he was. So this would antagonize a rematch for the Louis camp. Arthur Donovan would make the deciding factor because 2 judges made it unanimous. And Arthur Donovan, third man in the ring, and at that time the referees were the third judge. So they would have to have a rematch. And it's just a blow-by-blow on a 15-round match, but they will have a rematch June 20th, 1940 at Yankee Stadium. Now what you're looking at here is the original newspaper editing. I'm just going to quickly breeze through this. I just wanted to show you what they look like. This is the actual news. This is the actual paper that the journalist actually typed to write his article. Only I have it. This is Aturo Gadoy and Joe Louis. Joe Louis accepts a rematch. They will meet again. Now here you have Joe Louis accepts 3 bouts to win honor because he was disrespected and felt as though he wasn't a real champion because he didn't knock out Aturo Gadoy. So on that list would be Johnny Paycheck, April 3rd, future battle, decided September 4 at Detroit. It's the kind of thing that Joe Louis had to go through. And the thing about it, those who don't know their history, they don't understand. Joe Louis didn't have the opportunity. He just wasn't outspoken in that fashion to choose his opponents. He went along with it. The opponents were chosen for him. And he knocked out everybody that they chose for him. It is what it is. So I just wanted to go through this fight with you real quickly. This is Scrapbook Boxing Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series, saying all great fighters and all great fights will never be forgotten on my channel. Aturo Gadoy, very good fighter. Joe Louis. They had 2 pretty good fights. Aturo Gadoy will be knocked out in the 8th round in the second fight, June 20th, 1940 in Yankee Stadium. Joe Louis with the truth. He was the Brown Bomber. And salute to these great fighters. Salute to my subscribers. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Peace.